Hey, what's up, guys? Rado here with Jay, and we are doing something new, right?
It's very new. We're going to call this Dirtcast. Dirtcasting.
Right. So, welcome to our first episode of Dirtcast, where Jay and me will be talking about topics related to dirt. And there's a lot going on.
No iron, no working out,
None
of that stuff. Just dirt bike riding and talking about some of the videos we have that have come out or are going to come out. And that kind of stuff, fun stuff.
Exactly. So, Jay here is an insider. He knows a lot behind the scenes stuff from the dirt bike industry. And I'm just like you guys. I'm the guy who enjoys riding dirt bikes and doing things. So I think we can have a nice two angles on a different topic we'll be talking about.
One of the things that we just did recently, because we talked about doing this for a while, and a couple weeks ago I was up in Utah and I did a podcast with Kyle with Dirt Bike Channel, and he's really, I've known him for a few years now, and he's awesome. He's got a good following on YouTube, and he does a really good job with that stuff. He doesn't do a lot of the bike builds that we do or moto, but I talked him into coming out here this winter and going moto with us, and we're gonna try to teach, because he doesn't have any decent tracks where he's at.
Yeah, he doesn't really ride motocross, right?
Well, he doesn't have any good tracks and that are good and friendly, and I think get him out to Kuya and get on that vet track that's really fun, and I think he'll be hooked. So we're gonna work on that. But we had a good time. You got to listen to what'd you think?
I listened to everything. The whole thing, it was like 1 hour 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Because I was in a car driving and I had time to turn it on my cell phone, and it was cool. A lot of good info. Kind of information that I didn't know, and Kyle had good questions. You told him a lot of good stuff from the behind the scene. And that's I think what we can do also here.
And with our with this, we're not going to go on podcast or anything right yet.
Yeah.
We'll just stick to the video.
Exactly.
We're not too fancy, and we don't have time or means to deal with all that. But what we're hoping is we get some questions, and you can get some questions come in, and then the next time we do this, we'll try to answer questions, and then even maybe put together a ride like at Kuya, a moto day or a trail day, where we can take those that live close to SoCal. Take them out on a ride this winter, because winter's the best time out here in California.
And also the red sticker thing, if you have a bike, usually there is a red sticker on it. And now we are in the season, so we can go and ride a national forest. So we will be putting together some ride soon. So you guys can come, we'll come, and we'll have fun together. Now, I'm getting a lot of questions from you guys, because I just finished this RMZ450 like a week ago or two. And it's been a lot of fun. And the question that you guys all have is, how much did I spend? Like, how much money did I sink into this bike?
Too much.
Yeah,
if you were to go by the actual value, it's this high price of $8,700, right?
Yeah.
So which is you can buy a new bike, right?
I could.
Right, but so within doing the YouTube thing for almost 4 years, been able to get a lot of companies that help out and get that price down. And I tell Rado stresses out about it. He's like, people are gonna think this is stupid or whatever. I say, hey, when we build these bikes, and I build some too, you're just kind of giving. There's a magazine called Hot Rod Magazine, and we grew up, and they would build this hot rod. Well, they put way more money into the hot rod than it was worth. Like when they're done, they got $60,000 into it, and they can only sell it for $30,000 if they're lucky, $40,000 or whatever. So that's kind of to give you an idea. Hey, you can build this thing. Here's everything you could do, 100% of what you could do to this build, and maybe you only need to do 30% to your bike.
Yeah, this is like a dream bike. I did a lot of things because I could, and also this is a YouTube channel I do, and the content I have on the channel is building this bike and having all these different things on a bike. So it makes sense for me to do it that way. But if it's the bike that I'm just gonna ride and don't show to anybody, then I'm gonna probably stick with 30 to 40% of what I did. So what would be the thing that you think are the most essential for a build like that? The suspension would be first one, right?
Suspension and engine, obviously. Those are the main things. I mean, you want to do your maintenance on your brakes and chain and sprocket and stuff, but making sure your suspension's good. It doesn't necessarily have... This stuff was all set up by Factory Connection. And if you have a local shop or Factory Connection close to you, those types of shops can change your oils and make sure that you're good. So you want to make sure that it's all fresh fluids, because the stock suspension on this bike is really good.
Yeah,
we like these forks, and we'll talk forks a little bit later. But that would be the key, and then next would be the engine. And like in your case with this bike, we probably could have just done just the top end.
Just the top end, piston, and that's it, right?
Yeah, and maybe not done the full clutch, because the Henson stuff's awesome, but it's more full on race setup. Maybe we just put clutch, plates and springs in it from them, and so maybe we just do that.
Yeah, but it feels amazing now. The clutch and how it pulls, like it's maybe like 20-25% faster, stronger bike compared to what it was when we did the rebuild, and it's really different. It's like a different animal. It's really
No,
good.
so we got to do a video that's going to come out, I think, before this comes out, on our first ride, where you actually, we did it for the reveal, but you got to actually then do a bunch of laps on it at the track. And I got to ride it some. I only did a few laps because I'm not a 450 guy, and I don't pretend to be. So for me, it's a little too much, but it was nice how tight everything was. Everything felt like a new bike. It was nothing was, feeling worn and old out. Everything was really nice, obviously with everything new.
Right.
So that was really cool. The power is really relatively easy to ride. Bike starts up easy.
Because we didn't do the high compression piston, right? So we leave the bottom kind of the way it was. The only thing that helps with bottom is the full FMF system, and then the cage for the filter, right? It's from a 2-stroke, and then it hits in the mid range when the hot cam stage 2 comes on. Yep. And it's all you need, man. Even the more I ride 450, I have 5 hours now on this bike. The more I realize that it's just too much bike for me. And back when I bought it, I had really minimal experience, and I had kind of big ego, I guess. So I wanted 450, right? But the more I ride it, the more experience I become. I realize that it's I feel better on 250, maybe 350.
But the 450 is better for the roost behind.
Oh yeah,
a lot of guys like to just get gas and then look behind and see the roost. Like,
I do that too. Is it there? I had this guy taking picture of me. I'll put some pictures down here, and he did a great job. Paul Chambers Photographies. He's here locally in SoCal, and so I did this nice turn when the form was pretty good. Like the elbow was up, everything was correct, and then I sent it to Jay, and he was like, "Where is the roost?" So I did a turn without the dirt flying. I might Photoshop it in later on.
It was good. I got a couple photos from the guy at Kuya, another guy from Blake Dallin on the RMZ. We can show some of those in here. The bike, I was really surprised at how well I felt on the bike. So it was really good. It was a fun deal. But right on here we have dirt and iron and stay motivated. Yeah. Then there's a little story here where you've decided to trademark these logos. It took you like a year, but you did it.
Exactly. And it took me like a year, and it wasn't cheap. Together I spent like almost $2,000 because I gotta hire a lawyer and to do that. So I paid like $1,000 per each.
Right. Because nowadays some jerk or whatever could take the name, and then they could trademark it before you, and then come after you and say that you're messy, even though you built up the name. Yeah, they could come after you.
And then I would not be able to use it. So that was the main point, why I did it. Somebody commented like, now I cannot say stay motivated. No, you have to say it. You have to say it more now because I own the rights to it. So you guys use it for all our stuff we do here on the channel. But I already saw some other guys using Stay Motivated on their t-shirts, hoodies, whatever, and I was just afraid that somebody will come one day, pay this $1,000 before me, and say, "Hey, listen, Dirt and Iron guy, you cannot use it anymore. I have a trademark."
So unfortunately nowadays we have to worry about that. How'd you come up with that? Motivated.
Well,
is it because of your accent?
No. It was a typo. I was typing message on some messenger to my friend, and he had a bad time, and I just wanted to encourage him, and I told him you just gotta be motivated. And I did a typo. I type MOTO weighted, and I look at it, and that was just the first 2 months after I started a channel, and I was thinking like I need some punchline for my channel, right? And so I saw that motivated. I was like, yeah, this is cool, so I'm just gonna use that. I first wanted to say get motivated, but then I thought that's only once, because once you get motivated and then you are staying motivated, right? So maybe it's better to say stay motivated, because that's kind of
it's kind of staying moto. So it's going to stay riding, and that's what we've been talking about. I've been doing some videos lately on trail and some dual sport stuff, and it's all about old guys and old dudes. Yeah. And they all want to stay motivated, and they said they want to keep riding as long as they can. Mm-hmm. And then I get all these great comments from these older guys who are, let's say in their 40s up until 80 years old. These guys are still riding, and they want to ride. And they're like, yeah, I want to ride as much as possible. You can, take it out of my dead cold hands, when I'm done. They want to ride until they can't ride. And I kind of feel that way. I get them. And so it's really fun. And we've been shifting towards a little bit more dual sport riding. It's kind of something, it depends on where you live. A lot of guys can ride from their house, and you can cover a lot more area. And I got to take you on one dual sport trip, which was fun, up to the mountains. And we didn't get to do a ton of stuff, but we're going to do more.
We went to a Big Bear, right? Riding like a month ago or so, and I I started my moto life on the street bike, right? So I was leaning with the bike all the time, and I knew that. But then the last 5 years I'm on the dirt, so you don't lean with the bike, or sometimes you do when you're in a good rut. But so I'm kind of changed now, and I was on these turns on the street, right? And I was counterbalancing the bike, and I was feeling so weird because that's not what you do on the street, right? So you kind of have to reprogram. So how do you ride when you're on a dual sport? Do you switch into street riding?
Yeah,
with the bike.
But I have my leg out sometimes in turns just to leave that weight over there. But I'm not a street guy. It kind of freaks me out being on the street. So I like to do as little street as possible and just connect trails, and that's the main thing I like to do. I'm probably not going to ever, we'll see, but I'm probably not going to be an adventure bike rider because, first of all, they're bigger bikes, and most of those guys are going on a lot of asphalt to get to where they're going to go. And then maybe they might do a lot of dirt that day, maybe do 100 miles of dirt, but then they're doing 100 plus miles of street, and I'm just not big on street. And I don't trust myself or other drivers, like on the highway and high speed crashes and stuff.
I think personally that riding a dirt bike, motocross enduro is safer than riding a street bike. Because you crash. I mean, we crash all the time. I have all scratches and stuff. But then you just get up, dust off.
You might break something, but you can come back. When you crash on the street, sometimes you're not able to come back.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It's just safer. People say, oh, it's so crazy when you fly on those doubles and step up. Not really. It's nothing really bad happen. It can, but I think it's way more dangerous to be on the street because usually are the other guys that do something to the two-wheel riders, right?
Right. If everybody was on street bikes, I'd probably be more apt to, it would be more acceptable, I think. But I feel like if we're just going to be battling with cars, you're going to lose.
Right. Okay, Jay, you got the new bike. Again, the same one.
Yeah, I got another one.
Tell me about it.
2019 KTM 300 XC with a carburetor, which we're probably going to take. We are taking that Mikuni off.
Right.
Put an Electron or Kian or...
He doesn't believe in TPI. Not yet.
Yeah. So the reason is because the TPI, everybody thinks it's the future and better, but it's only the future because they have to do it.
Right.
And it probably will get there. I do believe it will be probably better long term, but because KTM's really committed to what they're doing. Mm-hmm. So they do a good job of when they come up with a change, they're gonna keep developing and making it better with better maps and better way to make it work. But right now they're quirky with the power valve and how it works with the carburation. It can feel quirky. And also, when you're riding the bike, it doesn't come with a Kickstarter backup, which is frustrating. They take that away because they're trying to cut the weight down.
Right.
So you don't come with that. Also, there's just more chance of things going wrong.
I heard something about lubrication not being sufficient.
Sometimes that could be an issue because they might be a little bit lean there. So they're going to be constantly changing the maps, which would be like your jetting. Mm-hmm. But I think it will get there. Right now, and yes, I know Cody Webb and Jarvis and these guys are winning on TPI bikes, but we think they would win on about anything. And so
pretty much. And
they want to sell the latest bike. They're going to want to sell these new TPI bikes, and so I get it. I don't think they're bad bikes. I guess I should clarify that. So I've spent time riding both back to back. If there's a guy and maybe he wants the latest thing, I don't think it's not like you're gonna go wrong, and you're not gonna, their value is gonna be good used. KTM, we talk about 300s, they hold good value, XCs and even the 250s, the XCs and XCWs hold a good value.
And we plan one video that will be pretty cool. If you guys are interested into finding out which one is the best 300, how many do we bring together?
I think we're gonna bring at least 6.
Yeah, like all kinds of different 300s.
From 17 to 20. We're going to get them all and have this massive little shootout.
And even my 04.
Right, we'll get that one in there.
So we'll have XCs, XCW.
What place do you think the 04 will get?
Don't ask me. If you're making decisions, I already know. Anyway, we can also ask subscribers to let us know below which bike they think is the best. At least judging from what you can hear and see.
Yeah, so I'm going to modify this 300 up a bit, do a project with it. And put all of our good protection on their hand guards, get the high compression head done with TMR, we do that. Mm-hmm. We don't really do any porting or anything to the cylinder. We don't take the cylinder off because it runs so good with a Kian or Electron on there. They run really good. So we're pretty happy with them. And I'm just going to I got a good deal on the bike with Malcolm Smith. It's a bike.
It's brand new, right?
It's a brand new one, yeah. So, and I never even started it; just tore it apart.
Oh, cool.
Never even started. People go, "How can you do that?" I'm like, "It's okay." I got another one, so it's it's okay. I want to get it all dialed in first, and make sure it's good.
Somebody's blessed. That's good.
Yes, life is good. Well, it's like,
But you know, Jay's good with the. He likes to share the blessing. So
you know, because I'm home alone. My wife and I now. My kids are moved out. You have little kids still, so you got to like. Obviously, that's your focus, and now I can just focus on just me and my wife, and so it's easy. You know, it's nice.
So since we're talking about those KTM's, there is one big news that dropped in a couple of weeks ago. KTM bought 60% of Gasgas, which makes them the major owner of the company, right?
Yeah, I guess Gasgas was in some financial troubles, and I don't know if it's mainly because of bad management or just because of bike sales, but it seems like they do okay on the bike sales. Like maybe not like obviously everybody else, but it seems like they should do okay.
Yeah.
They have a good, you know, like good, not as good as KTM, but they have a decent dealer network and stuff. And guys, there's many guys who buy Gasgas regularly, so and they do well in trials. I think they have some decent bikes. You know, you've ridden some.
Yeah, I was on 18. I'm gonna take this beauty for a quick spin and let you guys know what I think. Whoa! I like the engine, it grabs from the bottom. You can tell it's 300. There's a nice torque to it. It's pretty much comparable to XC KTM 300, and the bike felt great. Suspension was good, it was KYB, I believe. They just switched that year to KYB, and not that huge vibration. It didn't have any, what do you call it, a balancer in the engine.
Counterbalancer.
But it still felt really good, and I wouldn't mind riding Gasgas. It was a cool bike, and the question is, right, how much would it become a red KTM, and how much would it kind of stay that Gasgas, you know, Spanish bike that has its own characteristics. So hopefully it will stay like that, just be a little bit more advanced, coming, you know, from the KTM R&D. Right?
Yeah, that's what we're hoping. We'll see what happens and how much. I'm assuming they're not going to kill the brand by any means. I wouldn't assume they would buy it.
I don't think so.
So I think they're going to make it, and we'll find out in the next 1 to 3 years kind of what's going to happen there, and if we're going to see another kind of Husqvarna like what they did there, if they're going to have some similar bikes. But overall, I think it's going to be good because there's going to be more bikes for sale and more interest, I hope. So we'll see. And
it will be a little more diverse. You know, if you go on a trail ride, like you did a video with 12 bikes when you did like a big shootout on the trail. I was on the ride too. And some comments were like, oh, all the bikes are KTM. You guys only review KTMs. It's boring. But you know, the reality is that those are the bikes that people ride. We didn't ask them to, hey, don't ride Kawi or Suzuki or Yamaha, come with KTM. That's what they came with, and we just rode their bikes, you know. So
out on the trail, that's all we see, you know. It's like if everybody has that. Now, there's a lot of guys in some areas that are just trail riding their motocross bikes, and they have some of the Japanese bikes out there. But for the most part, guys that are seriously into trail riding or racing, if you look at race lineups, man, it's like 80% KTM and Husqvarna on the start lines of these off-road races, and that goes off-road. They make some great off-road bikes, and they have a lot of different models where Yamaha and Honda have just recently come out with RX, FX, WRs, and Honda's with their RX and now their new X and new L line. They've just have done this recently, and I think it's in response to KTM having so many different models. And
they didn't really change a lot on those bikes compared to the R models, right?
Right. So where a lot of times they don't have a different transmission in some of them, so you have to pay attention to that. They just have an 18-inch rear wheel and a kickstand, and that's about it. And
those are the things that you can do at home kind of easily too.
Right.
But at least they're starting, and that's a good point.
They're paying attention to KTM, and KTM on their bikes, their off-road bikes, will add a gear and change the ratios of the transmission, and so can become more of a legitimate off-road bike. Yeah. And I even like some of the gearing, like in the XCF, I like some of that gearing better, even on the motocross track than I do. So there's some nice features there that are really cool. So, and I think that we need to look at, there's a lot of different options of bikes, that you can do. And
so, having the Gasgas with KTM together, I think what we're going to see is they're going to use their network, their marketing and everything to help sell more Gasgas bikes. And how much they're going to resemble KTM, we don't know yet. But definitely would be a good thing to see, more diversity on the trails. And I think we will all benefit from it. There'll be a little more competition.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So I've been on shootouts the last shootouts for me is the shootout time of year. Right now it's been in August through September where
so you do 450s, 250s in
I go out with all the magazines and we make sure that they're all running Dunlops, either MX53 or our new MX our new MX53 or the MX33.
So you put all the bikes on the identical tires so they handle the same.
We do that for like Swap Moto Live, Motocross Action, Dirt Bike.
How many shootouts do you do a year?
Oh, like 10 or something.
Oh, wow.
You know? And so we're changing a lot of tires and making sure they all go out. And it's pretty fun going out in those shootouts. You know, you learn a lot. I get to ride some of the bikes. A lot of times I don't like to ride all the bikes in the same day because it's a lot of work. I mean, you do a lot of laps if you really want to compare. But the shootouts have been going good in the motocross scene. And that motocross shootouts will kind of a lot of times trickle down to the off-road segment for those guys that are off-road fans. And those will be some of the bikes that you buy used, you know. And so in the shootouts, the KTM and Husqvarna have been doing really well the last few years. And then just recently, now the
Japanese take over again.
And with the Yamaha and Honda and Kawasaki, those bikes kind of getting in there on each one. And I think the biggest reason is the suspension, is forks. KTM's the only one with air forks left.
Right.
They are good. They're the best air fork. But stock they can be lacking, and if you get them redone, it gets expensive. But they're really good. Like Factory Connection and Race Tech both do a good job on the air fork of making it better.
But on the spring fork, like this is a 7 years old bike, and we done the suspension with Factory Connection, and it's better than AER, right?
Yes, for sure. And even stock, I think if they were just cleaned up, I think they're better than AER fork. It's a good fork, but it's just not on par with what comes stock on a Yamaha or Honda. And if the KTM's came with, say, the cone valve, which maybe cost a little bit more, you know, for each bike. If it came with that, they have that technology with WP. And I'm maybe trying I'm getting some used cone valves done right now that I'll be trying soon. Probably the next time we do this, I can talk a little bit about that. But what I've done in the recent while, sorry to get off the other subject, but is KYB, Technical Touch has a KYB kit that takes all the Yamaha internals and puts them inside your AER fork.
So you just open the fork and slide it in?
And you got to change the lugs. It's a big job.
Okay.
So you still would have to pay a suspension shop a few $100s to switch it all over. So it's probably a $1,500 to $1,600 deal to get done. So it's an expensive deal, but it's cheaper than buying cone valve forks typically. So, and I think it's probably as good or close to that good.
Have you ridden those forks before?
Yes, I just got some done on my Husky 270. And it's amazing on the track. I haven't got to trail ride them yet. So that's my next thing I'm going to work on. Going trail riding and seeing the differences. Because honestly, trail riding, I don't really mind the AER 48 too bad. It's pretty dang good. Not as big of a deal as it is on the track.
I was on the 2020 TX that had air fork.
Yeah.
And that was like the best off-road suspension I ever ridden stock. It was really good.
Right.
It was like stick to the trail. Like I didn't feel like, you know, I'm jumping off some roots and ruts, nothing like that.
And even on like bowling ball and softball sized rocks, it just it floats over. It feels really good. And so that's one of the things with the AR fork. I think it's fine for most guys for trail riding. And that's a big plus, obviously. So we like that. And so in these shootouts, you kind of get a feel for all the different bikes. But what you'll find in these shootouts, you can see different winners of the 450 class and different magazines and different websites. So, and the 250, same thing. They can have drastically different winners. Right. So the shootouts are good and bad. I don't know. I mean, there's such a wide range of opinions. Yeah. But I do say one of the things that KTM and Husky finish up fairly well is because they have a really good components that don't wear out with a clutch, the hydraulic clutch, the good brakes, the electric start being very lightweight. Lightweight is a big deal because it's less mass what's going to hit you if you crash or when you crash in dirt bike riding. I
wanted to ask you guys, how much do you pay attention to those shootouts? Like if you are going out today and buy a brand new bike and you have $8,000, would you go and check latest shootout and make a decision based on that? Or how much on a scale of 1 to 10, when 10 is the highest, how much, can you comment below and let us know, how much influential would that shootout be?
Up to 10,000 for 450 out,
up to 10,000.
Over.
That's right. If you buy latest year.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It's not cheap.
So I'm curious how many guys are really paying attention to those shootouts and if they value it. So it's fun to go out and at least get a feel for those and learning about all those. It's pretty good.
So we had this bike, Jay built it and we rode it bunch of this Honda RX250. I had it on my channel for like 4 videos and we rode it stag and then you put 270 on it.
Yeah, it's fun bike. And it was a loaner bike, so I actually had to give it back. And I
He
was,
was so sad. Yeah, he texted me, "Oh, I give it back to them." So sad.
We got this. Race Tech did the engine with a 270 kit from Cylinder Works, and so the engine was awesome because that bike is a little soft stock on the power, but with the big bore kit in it, it's awesome. It's where it needs some more bottom and mid, and it just felt awesome. And then the biggest thing was the suspension. It was the best suspension I'd ridden on any bikes recently, and so I find if I'm happy with the suspension, it could be a slower bike. I'm going to be happy on the track because the suspension's good. I can go faster. So I feel like suspension being good, especially the forks, you're not getting beat up. Yeah. You feel awesome. So I love that bike, that Honda 270. And the RX version, again, not drastically different than the R version, just a bigger tank stock and the kickstand and 18-inch rear wheel. So it doesn't have a different transmission, and there's some guys that are really bent about that, and I get it. You know, if you're trying to buy an off-road bike, it probably should. So
maybe they will come 2021.
Yeah, hopefully they'll work on something. You know, getting a little bit more different than the motocross bikes. A lot of these, you know, RX and FX can be a little too close to the motocross bike, where you have to go get like a WR or in Honda's case an X to get different. And I think, and we talked about this before, how this is like a only because of KTM is Honda and Yamaha really going after these off-road, you know, making these WRs and FX and RX and X and L is because, you know, KTM's got such a huge line and different models, and now with Husky, all these different models.
And now with Gasgas.
And they've actually cut down models, and they still have more than the Japanese have, you know. So I think that's why we're seeing some more updates from these, and it's going to be good. You know, obviously, KTM doing well for the last few years has been good because it makes these Japanese who used to only change bikes every 3 to 4 years, you know, they wouldn't change stuff as much. Now they're changing stuff much more.
Would be good if Yamaha come back with something street legal, because you cannot buy anything street legal today from the dealer. Like WR, they had
it's a street bike engine in that WRL or whatever they call it. It's a street bike.
But it's only 250.
Yes.
They don't have 450.
No.
So,
and it's not even the 250 engine that's in the motor, you know, like the FX. It's a street bike 250 engine, like Honda does with their CRF 250L.
I see.
Same thing. It's a street bike engine. It's not the better, you know, off-road
So engine. A little longer range. You can go like oil changes and everything.
Yes. So it's more of a durability issue. One of the things with the Japanese is they do tend, with Honda and Yamaha, they want bikes that are, if they're going to have it as a street legal bike, it needs to be very durable, long intervals.
And so it will be heavier and kind of more robust compared to KTM.
Yes,
right?
For sure.
And we got WR450 2019 year sitting right there behind the camera in the garage.
That's been a fun bike.
Yeah, I took it on a track, and you've probably seen the video. And I was trying to see if I can clear all the jumps on the wet track and just have a fun. And the bike did really great. I had so much fun. It pulled really nicely. I could still feel that it's a little softer on the bottom, but we got a full FMF system that we're gonna install soon.
GYTR, FMF, and then their ECU. And then they have a little communication deal with.
So you can do it with your cell phone, right?
Yes.
The WR stock is not able to be mapped on a cell phone. You gotta buy that extra. They call it CCU, like a programmable part that you hook up to your ECU probably, right? Yeah. And then you can connect with your cell phone and change the maps, download them from the internet. You can get them from many different people. You can get custom maps too, right?
But the bike runs really good just with the basic mods, with taking out the throttle stop and uncorking the bike. That's basically free.
It's already a big difference.
And how fast did you go? Didn't you go really fast?
I did 90 miles an hour on the dirt. That thing is crazy. I think it's six gears. You go in the sixth one, and I did 90 miles an hour on the dirt, and I was scared.
Could you have gone faster? Did you feel like you had more?
No, it was. I could still go I could probably do like over 100 miles an hour on that thing, which is just too much. It's too crazy.
Unless you're in a place like that's wide open, like a dry lake bed or something, where you feel like, hey, nothing's gonna come out. Because it's a little too scary at that highest speed, and so I definitely don't like those high speeds like that.
How fast do you think the guys go on a straight rhythm?
It got to be, I don't know, 40 miles an hour or something, but it seems really fast because they film it going along it.
Yeah.
But it was pretty cool. Like when it first came out, I thought it'd be pretty silly, And now that they got them all on 2-strokes the last 2 years, it's kind of fun. Everybody's really into it. And what's funny is you can see guys just take a little bit more scrub, and then they can pull a guy by like a bike length or two. And then the other guy catches right up and passes, you know. So it was kind of interesting. I wish it was on TV so I could fast forward to commercials and junk. But I watched it on the app that night a little bit. I watched most of it. And it was pretty cool. I'd built a bike for Alex Ray. And he went out. He got to go against Cooper Webb right away, which was kind of tough. But and we had some challenges building that bike. It was an 03. And since then, he's got an 06 he wants to build up. So
also?
yeah, he's already into it. Yeah, he's all about Suzuki's. Obviously, he rides Suzuki's. So we're seeing a lot of guys wanting to build bikes. This two-stroke thing's kind of gave it this different life, you know.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of interest. It was kind of cool. Obviously, nothing I could do. You know, even I wouldn't be able to jump off the thing to start. I'd be like scared to jump off.
It's pretty scary, and then you gotta have your timing right. Like I wouldn't even attempt to ride that thing. I would be like up and down, up and down. It's crazy. Like it's something you have to be pro to ride something like that.
Like legit.
Yeah.
Because like I said, even jumping off and hitting that one just right, that starts the whole deal. You know. So it was pretty interesting, and it's kind of cool that Red Bull makes unique things like this, and it seems to be long term. It's been quite a while now, like 5 years.
Yeah, it's good for the industry, and you know,
something
a lot of people love those two strokes, and then you gotta bring those old two strokes back. You can build them, you can make them a little better, and then you can put the 04, 05 Hondas, CRs or RM Suzukis against 2020 KTMs and Huskies, and it's kind of fun to watch. Like this old bike, if you do a nice sporting job and everything, it's pretty much on par with a new bike, right?
Yeah, I mean, like Ken Roczen won, and he's obviously pretty good.
Yeah.
But he won on an old bike. You know, Honda hasn't made a two-stroke since 07, and I think that was an 06 or 07 bike of McGrath's that they kind of redid. But a lot of guys had a struggle. From what I talked to a lot of guys, and they were jetting. Yeah, even on Roczen's bike, as soon as it got dark, weather changed, they were jetting on those things to make them just right. Because when they're landing on that stuff, they don't want any bit of a bog and hesitation. It needs to be right on the money. So that was a constant battle.
What were they running mainly? Do you know? Kane carburetors? Or?
Yes, yeah. And most of them are running just the stock Mikuni or Kian that it comes with. And most of those carbs are really good for moto. You know, we find that they work just fine.
Yeah. And JD Jetting is doing a pretty good job, I think, with the jetting,
kits,
right?
Yeah.
I had good experience with you get that custom needle and just follow their chart, and the bike is nice and crisp.
Very good, especially for trail riding, all this stuff, because you're going up and down in elevation. You can go, okay, I need this red needle because I'm going up to 6,000 feet. That makes it really nice. Makes it easy.
Yeah,
they do a good job. So I was thinking on some videos that have been doing well is those old guy, like I was telling you, those old guy videos. And then I just did a new one with Spencer and I, kind of our last trip together, because he's gone for a while, is our Motocation, we call it, which is, I'm gonna have to trademark that name.
Oh yeah.
Motocation, because
it's just $1,000.
Okay, maybe I won't.
I think Jay found his niche, or niche, how do you say it?
Yeah.
Niche.
Or niche, yeah.
Well, every time he put old guys on the thumbnail or in the title of the video. Old dudes, yeah. The video is doing really good, and a lot of people are commenting because there's a huge community of older gentlemen. They don't have probably they're not as busy as I'm in my 30s.
And a lot of them have the money to do it because people moved out, so they're in their 40s to 80s. They still have the money to go buy
and you have time.
Bikes, and they have the time, so they can, whether they're maybe they're not fully retired, but they own their own company, or they can afford to take off more.
Yeah. They
don't have the kids to worry about going to soccer and stuff. So that's a big community. So that's been fun, and my Motocation one was really fun. And I think my suspension one will probably be out soon, where we talk about the forks and switching to the AER.
So you went to Colorado,
Utah, Colorado, yeah.
Utah, Colorado. So which state do you think is like the best for trail riding?
I think Colorado has a lot, but there's also a lot of rocky stuff. Talking to Kyle and looking at a lot of, and I've ridden in Idaho years ago, but there's a lot of good stuff in Idaho. There's just it's a bigger range of areas,
And the laws are pretty good.
Yeah.
You can just ride.
Yeah,
no stickers, nothing like that.
I don't know about the sticker deal, but I'm sure you can buy. It sounds like you can buy a visitor one, but there's lots of good riding. The entire state. Utah has plenty, but it's somewhat limited. But compared to California, it's amazing, right? I'm going there tomorrow and gonna go do some more trail riding. So
he invited me too, but I can't do that. I cannot go for 3 days and leave everything here and just go
see your kids and wife. I get it and I understand, and so it's pretty fun. So it's a good life. So again, this bike came out awesome. Hopefully you can. I've been encouraging him. He doesn't like to get rid of bikes, so he does these projects and then has the bikes. I've been encouraging, hey, let's get rid of this and move on to some more projects, and then we're committed to doing these next projects a lot faster.
Yep.
So, but this thing came out cool. One of the coolest things was just this whole movie quality aspect you did on the reveal. You had some guys that you met through the channel, I think, that helped you with it.
Yes. You guys saw the reveal video, the first 2 minutes of this bike when I revealed it, and it was something else, right? It was a different quality and it looked really great. And that's because I didn't do it. It was Brian and Bennett, two brothers. Bennett is from Zurich, Switzerland. Brian he is living in San Diego, a former Navy guy. He just got out of Navy a couple months ago. And they both, like Bennett is a professional filmmaker and Brian is getting into that business. And they helped me to put everything together. So we met 6 a.m. in the morning. We shot everything on the sunrise. And they had a plan. They told me what to do, where to look, how to look and all this kind of things. So I just followed and like they took all the footage, they did the editing, they put the music in it and just showed it to me at the end. And I don't know, but I was watching it, I had goosebumps only. It was really cool.
They did an amazing job. So it was really cool. Hopefully they can help you out on when you do the YZ450 one.
Yeah.
It was really cool. Because we did the riding ones on our own and that was fine. But that stuff, I don't have the patience to do that, as you know. I don't like to shoot anything.
Right.
So it was pretty cool.
I think it's nice because you spend so much time doing it, and you put a lot of heart into something like that, and just show it like, hey, this is it. That's how it looks finished. Like I didn't feel I can do it like that. I wanted to spend some time, effort, and just make it look really nice because I think everybody deserves this. You guys too. Like you've been waiting for this time, for this moment, long time to see the bike down. I just don't want to come and show you the picture. Hey, this is the bike, right? It's good to do it a little bit better. It's not like you are building how many bikes a year? Like
20 to 25 in their range.
So it gets a daily for you. But
yes.
For me, it's very special.
That's very good.
All right, guys. I think that's about it for what we wanted to talk about today, right?
Yeah. For episode 1, it's a good start. So
it is.
And I think, like you said, we'll hopefully get some comments back and some ideas if anybody wants to hear of anything. We're going to try to have some good photos while we're talking, so you don't have to look at us the entire time. Have some photos throughout here of some of the stuff we're talking about, some of the stuff that we do, and kind of maybe some GoPro from some of the riding we're talking about, because it does get a little old just looking at me. But
right. And if you guys have any questions or that you want to ask Jay or myself, anything about the industry or something about us, drop the comment below and let us know. Next episode we're gonna do probably in a couple of weeks or maybe a month, and we can talk about many different things and also answer those questions that you guys might have. All right, my friends. Well, I guess that's about it for today. Thanks for watching. If you're still till now, then you are awesome, because it will be like 30 minutes. But yeah, thanks a lot for watching, and don't forget, whatever you do, stay motivated.
Am I allowed to say that? Stay motivated?
Yeah, you have my permission.
Right, stay motivated.
See you guys later.